When hunter Ben saw this massive bear, he was full of joy. He thought he could shoot it, and with so much fur, this would earn him a lot of money. Strangely enough, he refused to shoot the bear. Ben decided to tranquilize the bear and bring it to the local vet for an ultrasound. When the vet saw the ultrasound, he immediately called the police. Ben could not believe it. How could an unlicensed shady vet call the police on him? The whole reason he brought the bear here was because he knew that this vet was known to keep his mouth shut for a little extra cash. He was ready to jump the vet and put his light out, but the vet calmed him down by telling him he did not call the police to have him arrested. There was actually something going on with the bear, and he had spotted it on the ultrasound. This animal had not reached that size just from overeating or something. The vet had never seen anything like this before and knew immediately that he had to get the police involved. And only when the officers arrived did it start to make sense to Ben. The police had no interest in him. They barely cared about how this animal had ended up here. All they cared about was what they were shown on the ultrasound. This was a very big deal. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. Ben, a seasoned hunter, had never encountered a black bear quite like this one. It was enormous, almost unnaturally so, which sparked a sense of curiosity instead of the usual impulse to pull the trigger. He found himself unable to take the shot, something that had never happened to him before. Staring at the bear from a distance, questions swirled in his mind. Could the bear be pregnant? But his theory was quickly disproven when he saw the obvious signs of the bear's masculinity. So there was something else, something he couldn't explain about this massive creature. Deciding to follow the bear, Ben kept a safe distance, though he was certain the bear had already spotted him. But the bear did not really seem to care about Ben's presence. In the time that Ben was following the animal, he was weighing out his options. He did not just want to follow the bear out of his morbid curiosity about its morbid obesity. But Ben had a very different idea. Because he had never seen a bear like this before, he speculated that it might be rare, and he knew some people who would be willing to pay top dollar for a rare animal. Ben knew for a fact that he was not going to be able to do it alone, but he did not have to. He had a lot of hunting buddies that he knew would be dying to help him out if there was a bit of money for them in it. And he quickly set up a group call while he was still following the bear, and together they came up with a plan. 3 of them would come to Ben with a truck big enough to carry the large bear. They would also bring a set of tranquilizing darts which they could use to put the bear to sleep for a while. And while Ben was waiting for his friends to reach him, he was lucky enough to see that the bear had finally found a resting place near the entrance of a small cave. When his friends arrived about an hour later with all the goods, the bear was actually sleeping. They of course still needed to tranquilize it if they wanted to transport it, but at least they could not really miss their shot on a defenseless animal. So they quickly fired 3 rounds into the animal, which of course immediately woke it up. It looked around very angry, and when its eyes landed on Ben and his friends, it immediately started to charge at them to the shock of the group. Normally one of these darts should be enough to put any of these bears to sleep quickly, but they seemed to have no effect on this behemoth of an animal. They all started running in different directions, but the bear focused his attention fully on Ben. He barely had time to think but decided to quickly try and climb up a tree. Ben clung to the tree, heart pounding. Below, the enraged bear circled, its massive form a dark shadow against the forest floor. His mind raced. How had a simple hunting trip turned into this deadly game of survival? Time seemed to stretch into eternity. Ben's muscles ached from clinging to the tree, but he dared not relax his grip. His thoughts turned to his friends, safely hidden in the truck. What were they thinking now? Would they come to his aid, or had fear paralyzed them too? The forest around him was a mix of eerie silence and the occasional rustle of leaves. Finally, with a last disdainful snort, the bear lumbered away, disappearing into the thick underbrush. Once the bear was out of sight, Ben steadied his nerves by counting his breaths before cautiously beginning his descent. Each branch felt like a lifeline, and relief washed over him when his feet finally touched the ground. But he knew he wasn't safe yet. The bear could return, and he had to make it back to the truck. Approaching the truck with quick but silent steps, he was met by his friends, their faces a mix of concern and relief. "What happened out there?" one asked. Ben shook his head, trying to process the encounter. "That didn't go as planned," Ben muttered, still catching his breath. The others nodded in agreement, their expressions grim. They had underestimated the bear's resilience and realized they needed a new plan. "But we can't just give up," one friend declared, his determination evident. They gathered around the maps, scrutinizing various tactics, weighing the feasibility of each idea. Ben broke the silence, suggesting, "What if we don't harm it? Just capture it." His suggestion surprised everyone. Adrenaline had shifted his perspective. The bear, he thought, was a majestic creature deserving respect, not just a target for hunters. But the idea sparked intrigue, prompting them to reshape their plan. Ben insisted, "We need to ensure the bear's safety," his newfound respect guiding their thoughts. They quickly realized they needed better equipment. A phone call later, they acquired stronger tranquilizing darts. The darts were carefully loaded, each one representing their hope that the plan would succeed. The stakes were high, and they couldn't afford any mistakes. The final strategy took shape. They would approach the bear from multiple angles, using the terrain to their advantage. "We need to be in and out, quick and quiet," Ben instructed, his leadership emerging amid the crisis. They meticulously considered every detail from the bear's potential reactions to their escape route. Knowing the risks, the decision was made. It was time to act. Stealthily, the team moved through the forest, their hearts pounding. The bear lay peacefully, unaware of their presence. Ben signaled for silence, the moment of truth near. In position, he steadied his aim, the tranquilizer gun heavy in his hands, a responsibility he felt deeply. The dart found its mark. A collective sigh of relief escaped the team as they watched the bear react. They watched from a safe distance, ensuring the tranquilizer worked effectively and humanely. It was surreal to see the mighty creature succumb to slumber. They had succeeded, but their responsibility for the bear's well-being was paramount. As tension eased, quiet celebrations began. But gazed at the slumbering bear, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. They had achieved the impossible, yet the journey was far from over. Next came the logistics of transporting the bear. So they assessed its size and carefully planned how to move it safely. "We need to be careful," Ben cautioned, and soon they were working together, united by their shared mission. Lifting the bear was a Herculean task. Each member grunted under the weight, the bear a dead weight, massive and unwieldy. They inched forward, sweat beading on their foreheads. With a final push, they hoisted the bear into the truck, panting and exchanging looks of exhaustion mixed with accomplishment. Next, they concealed the bear with a large tarp, draping it carefully to avoid attracting unwanted attention. Their movements were methodical, driven by the need to protect both themselves and the bear. The truck's engine growled to life, and as they drove through the dense forest, precision was crucial. The team remained silent, each bump and turn a reminder of their precious cargo. Once clear of the forest, the drive became smoother, yet Ben kept glancing in the rearview mirror, ensuring the tarp stayed in place. The rest of the team was lost in thought, reflecting on the success of their mission thus far. But knowing the real challenge lay ahead, they arrived at the veterinarian's secluded location, scanning the area for any potential witnesses as they prepared to move the bear again. The vet, a man with a grizzled appearance, eyed the bear warily. "Never seen one this big," he muttered, curiosity overriding his initial hesitation. Ben explained their request for an ultrasound, and the vet nodded slowly, his professional interest piqued. It was clear this was no ordinary examination. In the makeshift examination room, the team assisted as the vet prepared his equipment. The bear lay imposingly on the floor, and anticipation hung in the air. As the ultrasound proceeded, the vet's brow furrowed. Suddenly, he paused, his eyes narrowing. "There's something here not normal," he said, his voice tinged with surprise. How the screen displayed an anomalous shape within the bear, a hidden mystery. The vet stepped back, a mix of shock and disbelief crossing his face. "I need to make a call," he said abruptly, leaving the room. Ben and his friends exchanged worried glances, wondering what the vet had seen. The atmosphere turned tense as they awaited further news. Despite Ben's protests, the vet spoke urgently on the phone. "We need the authorities," he insisted, sending a wave of panic through Ben. The arrival of the police could complicate everything. The sound of police cars pulling up heightened the tension. Officers stepped out, their expressions serious, making Ben's heart race. What if they were accused of poaching or worse? Ben stepped forward to explain. "We found the bear in the forest," he began, but the police seemed more interested in the bear than him. "We're here about the animal," one officer clarified, easing Ben's fears of arrest but increasing his unease. What was it about the bear that had drawn the police's attention? Gathered around the ultrasound machine, the officers looked intently at the screen. "What did you find?" one asked the vet, who pointed to the anomaly. The officers' intrigue was evident. They had not expected this kind of case. The room filled with a sense of wonder and apprehension as they speculated on the nature of the object inside the bear. After a huddled discussion, the lead officer announced, "We need to take this further. We'll need to perform a procedure to investigate." Ben felt a mix of relief and anxiety. While he was glad they weren't in trouble, he worried about what would come next. The bear's journey was far from over, and they were all part of it now. In the small room, the group waited anxiously while the police deliberated. The air was thick with tension, and every glance at the bear reminded them of the stakes involved. The vet finally broke the silence. "It's a man-made object," he said, pointing at the ultrasound image. The group leaned in, eyes widening in astonishment. How did it get inside the bear? What was it exactly? The police shared their bafflement, curiosity creeping into their serious demeanor. Ben's curiosity intensified, accompanied by a sense of unease as the mystery surrounding the object inside the bear deepened. His friends speculated, offering various guesses and theories, their anticipation growing. The group was eager but also anxious, uncertain about what they would uncover. As the vet prepared for extraction, he cautioned, "We need to be extremely careful." The police nodded, understanding the delicacy of the situation. Ben watched, feeling a responsibility for the bear's well-being. This operation was not just a medical procedure but a venture into the unknown. With the surgery underway, a hush fell over the room. Everyone's attention fixed on the bear, its steady breathing a reassuring reminder of its strength. The vet's hands moved with precision, and the team held their breath as the moment of truth approached. As the vet's hands stilled and he carefully extracted the object, he announced, "It's a camera." The revelation was met with astonishment. How had a camera ended up inside the bear? The room buzzed with questions. But one fact was clear: this discovery was key to understanding the mystery. Realization dawned on the group: the camera must have been causing the bear's abnormal size. Relief mingled with guilt. Had their actions inadvertently harmed the bear? The police officers exchanged knowing looks, grasping the situation's significance. This was no ordinary wildlife disturbance, it was something much more unusual. In the quiet aftermath, Ben and his friends gathered, pondering the implications. What does this mean for the bear? One asked. And they reflected on the impact of their actions on its health. The initial thrill of the hunt faded, replaced by a sense of responsibility. They had set out seeking profit but now found themselves intertwined in a larger story. The gravity of their initial pursuit weighed heavily on Ben. He realized their actions had led to unforeseen consequences, stirring a moral awakening within him. They all unanimously agreed that selling the bear was unthinkable. Their experience had shifted their perspective, and the bear's well-being now took priority. Plans were swiftly made for the bear's return to the wild. They meticulously discussed the details, ensuring the bear would have the best chance at a normal life. Preparations began for the bear's journey back, reflecting a newfound respect for the creature they had once viewed as a trophy. The drive back to the forest felt transformative. Once hunters, they now acted as guardians, escorting the bear to its rightful home. With each mile, they embraced a collective responsibility, vowing to right the wrongs. At the chosen spot, they released the bear, watching in silence as it slowly ventured into the greenery. It was a poignant moment, symbolizing the beauty and resilience of nature. As the bear disappeared into the forest, it marked not just the end of their adventure, but the start of a new chapter for Ben and his friends, one of respect and coexistence with the natural world. The image of the bear, once a target, would remain a symbol of reverence for them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable tale like this one.